There's a great picture of Raritan McLean, Representative McLean, on the front page. Vicky, good job.
Oh, thanks.
Not only do you have great written skills, you have a photographic eye.
I sent some pictures to Jimmy from the award thing yesterday of Tony, so.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, we're going to put some more out, actually, that she sent me this morning, and it'll go out at 11:30 today on our social media.
Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, we really do appreciate it.
I can't hear Mike. Jimmy?
Yeah, I'm not sure he's trying to talk. I don't see him.
I hear him talking.
There he is. Okay.
I've got
You
it.
on, Mike?
I've got it now. Here we go.
Okay, thank you.
Call this meeting to order for Sunny County Commissioners for Thursday, September 10th, 2020. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America,
And to the republic for which it stands, one nation,
for God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, Commissioner Paradiso, would you like to lead us in a prayer?
Dear God, bless us as we convene today. And we are thinking about the people on the West Coast with all the fires and disasters that are going on, that you look over them, and that first responders are protected as well. And we also, again, would like to recognize the schools that are open, the students, the parents, the teachers that are working so hard to integrate everyone back into the school year. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much. Nikki, roll call, please.
Commissioner Kirschner,
Here.
Commissioner Paradiso,
Here.
Commissioner Thomas.
Here.
Okay, I will accept a motion to approve the digital audio video recording of the previous board session that was held Thursday, September 3rd.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Okay, Nikki, please, one more time.
Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Paradiso,
Yes.
Commissioner Kirschner.
Yes. So we have, starting at 10 o'clock today, Ron Burns and Kim Bond to talk about health insurance. Jimmy, you want to allow those people in with unmute, et cetera, please?
Yep. Kim and Ron, you should be able to unmute yourself and go ahead and start when you're ready.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity to be here. This is Kim Bond of First Insurance Group. Ron Burns is not able to be here today. Unfortunately, he has had another commitment. I am here today to talk about the renewal recommendation to the commissioners, which was presented to the Health Insurance Committee, renewal and rate options on August 26th, 2020. Again, I am Kim Bond from First Insurance Group, 1650 North County Line Street, Suite 200, Fostoria, Ohio. First Insurance met with the Health Insurance Committee, and one of the recommendations to the commissioners is that because the SEVCO rate renewal increase was 3.8% effective 1/1/2021, Stacy does have a copy of the complete renewal. The Health Insurance Committee recommended no change in the current rates to the county or the employee contributions. Last year, the SEBCO renewal was 2.8% decrease, and the rates were held, so that offsets the 3.8% increase for 2021. The fund account balance as of 7/31/2020 is $325,604. We have not yet seen the August fund account balance, but that leaves funding in the account to hold the rates for the 2021 plan year. Another recommendation, the Health Insurance Committee asked me to make to the commissioners is 1 month premium holiday for the county contributions and the employee contributions. The employees have 2 pays in November. This would be a one-time only premium holiday, not to be guaranteed for future years. The total cost would be $225,000, $180,000 county portion, $45,000 the employee. There is no deductible, no plan change increases to the actual benefits for 2021. There is also no change in the ancillary rates, basic life, accidental death and dismemberment, voluntary life, dental and vision, no changes for 2021. Due to the pandemic, Guardian did offer a 1 month premium holiday of dental and vision premiums. That would be approximately $8,600 on the dental, $2,800 on the vision, for a total savings of $11,400. That would be no cost to the county at all. It's estimated with the premium holiday and holding the rates that the estimated fund account balance 12/31/2020 would be around $167,000. And the estimated balance for 12/31/2021 back up to about $274,000. What you're looking at on this page on the right-hand column is the actual SEBCO renewal rates at the top, showing the 3.8% increase, which would be an increase of about $93,000. The second set of numbers, the proposed rates, would include all administrative fees, admin fees, everything plus the SEBCO rates. Down below, what you will see is the county contributions on the right-hand side based on actual rate increases and changes. And then down in the yellow below, the recommendation to the commissioners for the insurance committee effective 1/1/2021, 80% base rate for the commissioners, and then the employee contribution of 20%, then the employee contribution 26 pays.
Okay, Kim, that's the presentation. So in sum, the recommendation is that there would be no increase for 2021, either on the part of the county or the employees, and that the month of November 2020, there would be a premium holiday for those 2 pay periods. And that's not a repetitive, that's a one-time premium holiday. Does that pretty much summarize it?
That is correct.
Okay, so gentlemen, I will accept a motion to approve the recommendations of the insurance committee.
I'll let Tony make that motion. He's the expert.
Well, so moved.
Second.
Okay, any additional discussion about this?
No,
No, I think it's nice that we can give back to our employees. They've done a great job in 2020 and have given a lot. So this is a fantastic way for us to give back to them where we're able to. And so also a shout out to SEBCO and County Commissioners Association for running this program and giving us access to this. It's been a great program for us, and it's given us top-notch service and cost for our employees. So
yeah, I echo that, Mike. I'm on the Health Committee, and I want to just commend and thank everyone that sits on that committee for their hard work. And we're always putting, the employees to the forefront while balancing out the economics of things. So nice job, Kim and committee, and those are my comments.
Okay, thank you, Kim. Nikki, roll call, please, on this motion.
Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Paradiso,
Yes.
Commissioner Kirschner.
Yes. Okay, thank Kim again. Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Thank you. And I appreciate being part of the Seneca County government team. Thank you, Commissioner Paradiso, Commissioner Kirschner, and Commissioner Thomas. I appreciate it.
The only other thing I did want to bring up about the insurance, wellness is still to be determined. Our wellness company, Sevco's contract, they went out of business, so they're still working on setting up a new program. We'll probably get into that probably beginning of the year like we did last year. And also the Health Insurance Committee did recommend, if budgets allow, to do the HSA the same, $750 for singles and $1,500 for families. We said we would relay that, but until the commissioners got into budgets, I didn't figure you were willing to make that decision yet today. But at least we'll give you the recommendation. That's what the committee would like, depending on the county's budget situation for 2021.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, that's a priority, funding the HSA. Any discussion on when the flu shots are going to be available?
Beth was looking into that. I haven't heard from her
Okay.
yet.
I didn't know if it came up at the committee. All right, thanks.
Okay, Stacy, segue into your report then, if you wish.
Okay. Guess I want to give a quick update on end of year. See if I can share my screen again. Share. So this is as of August 31st, year-to-date revenue, $13,659,971.58. As you can see, the month to date, about 2.2 million. She did get settled, or the auditor's office got settlement done. So that is the full settlement for the second half included in this month. Expenses so far year to date is $11,177,163.62. You can see where we're at on the month to date expenses. Budget Commission did meet yesterday, and they agreed to increase the estimated revenue to 17.8. I do not have the signed certified copy of that to see what lines were actually increased. As you remember, the beginning of the year, we started at the 17.5. Anticipated reductions was, it ended up being about 2 million. And so that would take us down to 15.5. Some of the increases that were outside of the normal would have been the airport. Just the two projects we've got going on for this year is close to 1 million. So that brought it up to about the 16.5, 16.6. So the increase roughly for yesterday is up to the 17.8. So we've got about 1 million back from what the decrease was. So we're sitting at 17.8. As soon as I get that certified amount, which lines were increased, I will get that to you.
Okay.
The only other thing, I don't know if you want to get into any more discussions on that right now.
Just a couple of points of clarification. I want to make sure that the public is aware. So we are at 13.6 million through the month of August. Sales tax numbers for August were at a record level.
Yes. sales tax transfer in, this is just to the general fund, was 801. I think total sales tax was 855.
Okay, so that's the good news. Now, does that 13, we transferred 885,000 for the Medicaid money?
Yes, that shows up in the actual year to date, but it is not in the projections for Budget
So-
Commission's anticipated revenue.
So the 17.8 does not include the 885.
Correct.
Okay. All right, that's good news. So if, just again, just as a matter of numbers here, if we take the 13.6 and annualize it, that would get us well above the projected amount that the commission has told us that they're going to certify. That's the good news. The other good news is that even if sales taxes do tail off, and their predictions are that they might, somewhere in the range of 8% is what I think CCAO is predicting. But even if that happens from the $800,000 number, it still gets us well above 700,000. And if we do the 700,000 for the last 4 months, September through December, we still would exceed expectations. So that's all good news for us at this point. Okay, next.
Yeah, you know, Mike, and I think there's some more good news out there. You know, the casino revenue, the casinos continue to set records. So, you know, I was concerned initially that revenue wouldn't come back very strongly. And, you know, that's proven to be false because, you know, people are participating there at record numbers. And so, you know, there's a lag in when we get paid with that, but that takes our 2021 headwind, one of our headwinds away for 2021. So you know, I'm sad and glad to see that's going well. And, you know, early indications are that the sales tax revenue is holding up for the fall. So you know, that is good news on that front. And I did want to point out for people who are listening, who don't follow this closely, Budget Commission is made up of Auditor Julie Adkins, Treasurer Harrison, and Prosecutor Devine. And they are the ones who certify the revenue, and we certify the expenses. So, you know, there is a division of duties there that ensures that we're not overspending our resources. And so, you know, Budget Commission doesn't typically get much press or notoriety because they certify the number typically once a year for us, and that's the end of it. But in this pandemic, they've done a lot of work modulating the revenue so that, you know, we ensured that we didn't overspend our resources. So I appreciate their work, and you know, that's just a division of duties that the state of Ohio has put in place. And so we've got a good working relationship with them, and the revenue that they've certified sure seems like it'll carry us through the end of the year.
Yeah, that's right. And to your point about the casino, for example, you know, we actually had in 2019 $675,000 in income. We reduced that to a budget of 495, but it looks very much like we will get close to that 660 number for 2020. That's a great point. And we also see some light with the income that the sheriff, who's very diligent with the housing out there, has done. He's already reached his number for 2020. So we have the last 4 months to see how much additional we can get. So there are some real positive signs, not to mention what the CARES Act money may be able to do for us as far as reimbursing some of these expenses we had. So the net effect is that we've got, rather than woe is me, we've got some good news that we can talk about, not only on the insurance side, but also on the revenue side for the county. Yeah. Okay. Stacy, next item.
Just a reminder, maybe not a reminder. we worked through some dates for the EMS meetings, and the consensus seems to be for September 22nd to do one at 10 in the morning and then one at 7 o'clock in the evening. It will be through Zoom. We're going to try to make sure we get all the players involved. If anybody who wants to comment, share some ideas, talk about the plan, talk about the future. It's just a first meeting to try to get the township trustees, all of the ambulance districts together, any of the volunteers that want to log on, fire chiefs, anybody else that you can think of. We're going to get agenda put together, get that sent out early, and that way it gives time people to prepare. But I know one of the suggestions was if you could do it in the evening, so maybe we can, with two of them, we'll get a little bit of both, having one in the morning, one in the evening. So just wanted to put that out there. We will get an agenda out soon and get the invitations to join out there soon.
Give us the date one more time.
September 22nd, it's a Tuesday.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
And I have the Coronavirus Relief Fund recommendations. Let me bring that up. So for this week's requests, most are typically the same. The total equals to, for this round, $95,220.44. We've got a request for another temperature scanner for the RTA building. We've got a quote in for some security video cameras for the RTA building. Talking with Beth and the committee for contract tracing purposes. Thought that was an allowable expense. It gets us some visual when people come in to pay their taxes, people come in to, record deeds. If something happens, we can turn to the video, do some additional contract tracing. Sheriff's asking for additional webcams. They can get onto our meetings, but they can't talk and we can't see them, so they just listen in. So they're asking for that. Commissioner's request, that would be my request. My computer cannot handle GoToMeetings. It seemed to be able to handle Zoom quite well, but my processor wasn't large enough to handle GoToMeetings, and there's quite a few of CCAOs that use GoToMeetings. So that's a request for me to get a new computer so mine won't freeze on me again. Some of the same gloves, sanitation, the two up top. This is a discussion the group had for a few weeks. The current phone system at the CSB in our office right now are currently not on the network and do not have the ability to do quite as much call forwarding, the ability to work from home with these new systems. And I say CSB because that's the health department. We've been having issues with their system. Their system cannot forward at all. And this will give them the ability to be able to forward calls. They could actually use their cell phones to call people back, and it will show that they're calling from the office instead of calling from, usually most elected officials and department heads use their personal cell phones to do business on. Just, don't see the need to put that extra expense of a cell phone bill onto the county. So this was a recommendation that the committee thought was important, especially the CSB. We put our office in there just so that we would be onto the same system, and we would have that same ability. That way, when we're out and about working at home, the girls work at home, we will also have that same ability. Youth Center is updating some of their computers. They got the Zoom in one of the last requests, and they need a firewall put in because some of the Zoom calls, some of the different virtual meetings, they needed to make sure they had that extra protection and extra firewall put in. So they're requesting that, and some additional radio equipment and pagers for public safety. So, if the committee had determined that to them, this was all allowable expense. So if you take the total of the last four times, it would be, we're at $384,003.83. But all these are up for discussion. If you had any questions, any comments, these are what the committee is recommending.
Obviously, I'm not a technology guru, but since we are many times off-site with either our iPads or our laptops, has there been any discussion about allowing us to install virtual private networks for those folks that are off-site, dialing in and possibly on a network that is easily accessible to the outside? Has there been any discussion about putting VPNs on people's personal computers?
Most of the departments are using work computers for that, laptop surfaces that all have the VPN on them, or the new ones will have it on them. We didn't get into any personal, but nobody's requested that yet. We could look into that.
Well, I'm just concerned about those of us, and many of us may be in different locations when meetings happen. And sometimes those networks aren't very secure that we're checking in on. So I wondered if it would make sense to at least look at a group rate or some type of a rate through our IT folks about putting VPNs on everybody's system.
Okay. I think countywide systems, absolutely. It's just the personal devices. But I'll definitely talk to our IT about that, see their thoughts on that. Sometimes it's harder to put it on personal devices because you don't want to put our network at risk on somebody's personal devices. But I will look into it and see what options are out there for that.
Okay.
Stacy, just a quick question. The phone systems, if we do these two phone systems, will there be anybody else that's not on the new fiber network then at that point?
For the phones, we are looking at getting a quote for public safety.
Okay.
So other than that, it's going to be small departments, Job and Families on the network for the phones, the RTA, the Justice Center, Annex, obviously, and there's some remote, like regional planning is already on our system, and the law library that are in the CSB are already on our system. But also moving to this system will allow us to upgrade our phone system, our phone service. The phones will be upgraded enough to do a PRI. It's just a phone service and will actually save us quite a bit monthly. Probably almost enough to pay for the system in 2 years, as much as we're paying on individual lines, just because the phone system's so old and we hadn't had the ability to change. So, but yes, there's most everybody after these two, and if we get a quote for public safety, it'll just be small departments, the dog warden, which will just be an IP phone. They won't need a system, they'll just need a phone. So
Yeah, that's good government there. I mean, this has been a long-term strategy of ours to get everybody on the same network using the fiber network that we put into place. So this is good government, and it drives home the point when you have a pandemic on the resiliency of the phone system is important. I'll make a motion that we approve the committee's recommendations.
I'll second that.
Very good. Okay, Nikki, please.
Sorry, my
Yes.
computer froze.
Knock, knock.
It keeps freezing on me. Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Paradiso,
Yes.
Commissioner Kirschner.
Yes. Okay, Stacy, next item. Do you have
That's
some?
all I have today.
All right, so we are approximately 10:30. So we kind of have a hard freeze here. I think that we have a couple of questions possibly for Mary Jane Keller. Mary, morning. We were hoping that Mary Jane was on with us today. Jimmy, do you see her in your?
I see a Mary. Is that you, MJ? You could.
Me.
There you go.
I didn't want to be acknowledged. I'm just listening today. What can I do for you?
Well, we have something here that we would like to present this morning. It's a little proclamation for you. Mary Jane Keller started her career with the Seneca County Auditor's Office on February 6th, 2005. Mary Jane was very detailed when it came to the county's financial accounting and audits, along with always being willing to help departments with any issues they had. And whereas Mrs. Keller is married and has 2 daughters and enjoys going to the family pond and camping and an occasional trip to the casino in her free time, which we appreciate for the revenue. She also enjoys playing bunco with family and friends. And whereas Mary Jane has volunteered at the Commission on Aging for bingo monthly and is a member of St. Mary's Catholic Church. And whereas Mrs. Keller's knowledge and history with Seneca County's financial accounting and auditing will be missed and has been greatly appreciated over her 15 years of Seneca County. Therefore, be it resolved that this Board of Commissioners, Seneca County, Ohio, be, and it does hereby commend, honor, and thank Mary Jane Keller for 15 years of loyal and dedicated service to the Seneca County and its residents. In witness hereof, we, the Board of Seneca County Commissioners, have hereunto set our hand to this proclamation this 8th day of September in the year of our Lord 2020. So, Mary Jane, we just wanted to congratulate you on your years of service and offer you this proclamation in appreciation of your service.
Thank you very much. That really wasn't necessary, but I really appreciate it. Thank you.
You are.
Thank you, Mary Jane, for everything.
The 25 years was a long time there. I've learned a lot. I've grown a lot, experienced things I never thought I would in my lifetime. I enjoyed extremely being able to go to New York to help get the bonding done for the sales tax. And it's been a joy for 25 years. I don't know what to say, but thank you very much.
You are welcome.
Yeah, and from a personal standpoint, Mary Jane, thank you very much. When I became a commissioner, you really helped me understand the money and the flow of the money and the accounts. So, that was really invaluable to get me up to speed. So I really appreciate it. Thank you for your service to the county.
Thank you very much. I've always enjoyed giving people the details so that they could understand, and I butted a few heads, but I stood my ground.
I still love you.
That's
Yeah.
one thing we like about you.
Yeah.
I remember the first meeting, I forgot to log in, the VIP, and Mary Jane called in an uproar, and you put me in my place, and I've logged in ever since. So thank you.
I appreciate your cooperation. We try to keep the county moving forward.
Yes, we did. You did. We missed that.
Thank you.
Anybody else out there with any comments regarding the proclamation? Again, Mary Jane, thank you very much. Commissioner, so do you have something as well?
Yes, we have another guest. Mike Clace is on the phone or on the Zoom. I see you there, Mike, in the middle. Thanks for joining us. We have a proclamation in recognition for Mike's service at the county. Whereas Mike Clace started his career with Seneca County EMA by volunteering in the office around 1997 and was formally hired as public service assistant on February 14th, 2002. Mike has been instrumental in the creation and maintenance of the Seneca County communication systems and has knowledge of all aspects of emergency management. And whereas Mike spends his spare time volunteering as a fireman with Bethville Fire, being a member of CERT, Seneca County Community Emergency Response Team, information coordinator for the LEPC, amateur radio operator, and active in the ARES group. When not volunteering his time, Mike likes to work on projects around his home and takes care of his parents. And therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Commissioners, Seneca County, Ohio, be and it hereby commends, honors, and thanks Mike Clace for 23 years of volunteering, 18 years of loyal and dedicated service to the county and its citizens. A witness whereof we, the Board of Seneca County Commissioners, have hereunto set our hand to this proclamation, the 8th of September, the year of our Lord, 2020. Congratulations, Mike, on your retirement, and thank you very much for all you do and have done.
Thank you.
Yeah, Mike, I just like to throw on there, I appreciate your effort. You're kind of like a very reliable diesel motor. And we had a lot of change at the EMA and EMS and changes in director, and you just continue to run and do your job and make it happen. And we don't even actually understand all the technology things that you've done for us. So kudos, thank you. And I hope that we have your phone number because we're going to need it.
Yes, Michael, my personal thanks to you as well for the years of service and also all the volunteering that you do in the community. God bless you and happy retirement. Anybody have any? Yes, Mike, go ahead.
I could say thank you for everything and that. Had a good time over the years working on different projects and everything for the county and that. And I tell John and Ken that I'm still willing to volunteer time that help keep everything going smoothly for us and that. Enjoy the work. That looking forward to keep working with the county. Thanks.
Thanks, Mike.
Perfect. Thank you, Mike. Thank you. Anyone else have anything they'd like to add? Okay. Let's move on to commissioner reports. Mr. Thomas, would you like to begin?
Yeah, just a couple quick things. We still have a working group for the Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial, and that work continues. So I would expect us to see some kind of request before year end for a location. The group has kind of dialed in on somewhere around Cap Square in Seneca County downtown. So somewhere around the courthouse. So we'll hear more about that as it goes, but I just wanted to update that that's still ongoing, and anybody who has a particular interest in that, reach out to Commissioner Paradiso or myself or Paul Stark, and we'll be happy to include you. Today, the Ohio House is taking up discussion of repealing HB6. We opined on that when it was legislation, and I think we should probably at least update our position on that. So, we can still affirm our support of Davis-Besse and all of the above energy policy, but, we need to clarify our position on that. Particularly problematic was the way they blocked the referendum effort, in my estimation. And also, not having the audit feature in the original House Bill 6 is problematic. Mike and I have had a lot of people ask us for money over the years, and our first comment back to them is, okay, get us your financials and we'll take a look at it. And HB6 didn't do that. So, I'd like to work with Jimmy and put a draft, look at what we did before and bring that back before us because the time is now. So, and then other than that, I guess I'll just pass and we'll talk about the rest of the agenda when it's up.
Let me follow up a couple of things with you, Commissioner. You're absolutely right to because our fellow commissioners in Ottawa County have asked us to support it. I know that there's a lot of noise with HB6, right? I mean, we had thorough controversy with that with the speaker, et cetera. But the basic premise, I think, is still there, that we need to help support the economic environment. And it does affect Seneca County because there's a number of folks that work there that rely on that for their livelihood. So I do think that I appreciate the fact that you work with Jimmy, coming up with some type of a draft resolution in support of that House bill. The second thing is that you had mentioned a few weeks ago about the possibility of establishing a small business relief fund if there is any money left available from the CARES money. I think that we need to look at that as closely as possible. I do see that the city has got some formal proposal based on some money that they might be receiving, but we need to look at it maybe for the rest of the county, because there are a number of businesses in the county, right, that aren't necessarily in the city. So your idea about establishing that fund, if we have money available, I know that there's some question about whether we'll use it all up or not, but I do think that maybe working with Jimmy, we can come up with some type of a proposal, maybe modeling it after what the city is proposing. And then the last point, Commissioner, you had brought up a week or 2 weeks ago that we need to get the strategic planning committee back together, look at that document, and see what progress we've made. So Stacy, I would like to do a work session sometime in October when we're all going to be available to pull that strategic planning document out to see whether or not we want a full day session, a half a day session, or a couple of hours to at least look at the objectives and goals that we had set, to see where we're at and what we might need to modify, edit, or work on a little bit harder. So, you know, the ideas that Commissioner Thomas had regarding the Small Business Relief Fund, I think have merit. We should look at that and come up with something if we do have some excess funds. And it's certainly always good to keep up to date on that strategic plan. So we can come up with a date to do that. I'd appreciate it as well.
And Mike, TSEP did reach out to us, David Zach, and he did say we're here to serve. So if we need them, need their help, they're willing. So
perfect. Okay.
That's great.
Commissioner Paradiso.
Just have a few things. I'd like to recognize Judy Arnold. She was on the front page of today's paper. Vicki did a nice article on the presentation, but Judy Arnold was the recipient of the 2020 Outstanding Senior Citizen Award. This is kind of a big deal and well-deserved. And in the past, we would meet in the Mansfield area, District 5. I believe there's 10 counties or so that make that up. But this year, due to COVID, we met out at Garlow Park for the presentation, and I was privileged to represent the 3 commissioners and presented a proclamation yesterday. And she's been married to John for 53 years. Everyone in Tiffin knows who she is. But I didn't realize, in addition to volunteering, you know, with seniors and many other organizations, she was one of the early members of the Park District. Goes back 20 years ago. She was involved with the parks and spent a lot of time volunteering there. So I'd like to recognize her and congratulate her. Also, Kylie, who works here at the county. Those of you that are on maybe don't get to see her a lot. She had a birthday last week, and I didn't bring it up, but she's attending.
Tomorrow.
Is it tomorrow? Okay, but thank you for correcting me. She's in the Seneca County Leadership class, Leadership Seneca County, and we're pretty excited to participate in that class throughout the county as young individuals are introduced to all the good things that are happening in the county, and we're really glad that Kylie wanted to do that. So we wish you well there, Kylie. And finally, I would like to just mention EMS for a minute. And I think I hope the public understands, and primarily the parts of the county that we're going to be talking about, not necessarily the cities, not necessarily parts of the county that have services from the cities, but our 5 ambulance districts, our villages. We are taking this on. We're bringing this concept back up for discussion. This has been talked about for years, is my understanding. And I would really ask that everyone attends the meetings with an open mind. We need your participation. As a commissioner, I'll speak for myself, but this applies, I'm sure, to Mike and Shane. We have plenty of things to do. This is something we're not open to putting a lot of time into personally, just for the heck of it. We really feel there's a need out there to make things better. We're beginning a process. It's work in process, but I ask everyone to come to the meetings with open minds, speak their minds, so we can gather all this information and hopefully improve on the system that we have. So I just want to let everyone know that I personally am very committed to this process, and hope that others are as well. That's all now, Mike. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. We will move on to old business. The first item of old business is a museum. I had said last week after my presentation that I'd make some type of motion today. I think I'm going to modify that and just ask my fellow commissioners permission, I guess at this point, to have Prosecutor Devine review the proposal from the foundation and come up with some type of a contract between the county and the foundation that would not be back to us for approval, but back to us for review, to add any covenants or amendments that we as a group think are necessary in order to move forward with this, not the least of which would be to make certain that we had an inventory completed prior to reopening the museum, as we had talked about 7 years ago, and to also specify the duties of what the expected duties we would have of the foundation and cooperation in some manner with the Historical Society. So I'm not putting this in the form of a motion today. I'm asking that we take a run at a first draft of a contract that would then be submitted to each of us for review and comment. So I'll leave it at that and see if that's a starting point. Anyway,
Yeah. Well, I appreciate your driving this process. The museum's closed. It's a complex issue. I've spent a lot of time in the last few days on this topic, and I've just come to the conclusion personally that I think there's just a little more work to do from my end. And I would just feel like I'm not doing my job as a commissioner if I were to act on that. I get it. I've talked to a lot of people. I just want the public to know that I've had as many people approach me that are on the Historical Society side as have approached me on the foundation. And I'm taking this all in, and I do think we need to act on it sooner than later. I would like to see a process started, but I would like to defer on your recommendation at this point, personally.
Okay, any thoughts, Commissioner Thomas?
Yeah, I've got a couple thoughts. One is I just want to put it out there that Commissioner Kirschner, Commissioner Paradiso, and myself want to see the best outcome of this, and there's not a personal agenda here. And just a pro tip, attacking us personally isn't going to advance the ball any with any of us. We have tremendous respect for the intellect of each other, and so tearing down one of the other commissioners in this process is not going to be an effective strategy. We all want the best thing to happen here. And for Commissioner Kirschner, I've said this before, but thank you for stepping up and serving on the advisory board. And, you have in a lot of ways, a 6-year head start on Commissioner Paradiso and a 3.5-year head start on myself dealing with the museum. And, 3.5 years ago, Commissioner Stacy had put a lot of work into the museum and writing a grant to do a strategic plan. And there was just fatigue on her part. And 3.5 years ago, I asked Commissioner Kirschner if he would step into that role just to change up the personality mix. And he did that freely and gladly. And I appreciate that. So, we're just trying to make the best decision. I don't think this is an either or, this camp or that camp for any of us. We're trying to find the best solution for the taxpayer assets, for the taxpayers' expenses. To Commissioner Paradiso's point, if we take a few more minutes to try and get that right, I think that's important. Also, to your, I don't know that it's a motion, but a recommendation, Commissioner Kirschner, that I do think we need to get our thoughts down on paper. So, if you want to put something together with Prosecutor Devine and bring it to us, then we know exactly what we're talking about, what we expect out of any kind of contract. If we go down that road, I think that, I don't know what the best process is. I had a recommendation, but getting something in front of us to discuss and look at, I think makes some sense. So, I would bless that effort. But, I don't, I'm not willing to commit to whatever document you bring back. So yeah, those are my thoughts. And since it's on the agenda, I'd like to suggest that we open the lines for anybody who may have something to say about it, because, as Commissioner Paradiso alluded to, we've had a lot of conversations, but I think there may be people dialing in to give their thoughts as well.
Sure. Just to clarify, and I agree that we can open it up, no problem. But just to clarify, I wasn't, as you say, that I'm not calling for any action at this point, other than to move the ball a little bit down the court and prepare a document that at least we can review, modify, add covenants to, add amendments to, as we see fit, so that we've at least got a starting point. At this point, I just kind of feel like the starting gun has failed a few times, backfired. So I just want to start moving this process forward. And the only way I know to do that is to reduce it to writing and to come up with a document that we all can feel comfortable with. So again, Commissioner Paradiso, to your point, I know you're not ready to make a decision. I get that. I appreciate it. But I do think that we need to have something in front of us to say no to or to say yes to.
Well, I think on that basis, Mike, back to what Shane said, I mean, if it's, it's non-binding, I'm not against taking a 10,000-foot view of the museum and starting to bring it down. And maybe we are at that point where, we have the prosecutor look at some things, and but I'm not against it. It's just, I'm just not excited about it either. But I'm sure if you brought us something to look at, that would probably be a positive. So,
I just want to get us very near the same page. I mean, we have all three of us have had differences of opinion regarding other issues. I think it's imperative that we show our ability to, put together a document that takes out what we're concerned about, adds what we all agree on, and can show the ability to be able to disagree on some points, but still move it forward. And I think this is a good way to do that. So to Shane's point, are there any comments from the public? Jimmy, I don't know if you have to unmute or they can do that.
Sure. If you would like to make a comment on this, you can either unmute yourself if you are on the computer or a mobile device. If you're calling in through the phone lines, hit *6 to unmute.
Mr. Commissioner, I'd like to make a comment.
Yes.
Thank you, Commissioner. My name is Chris Leibold. I'm a city councilman over here in Fremont and one of the candidates for state representative. And, I just wanted to chime in here and say, Spiegel Grove up here gets about $550,000 in the state budget. And the Ohio History Connection has grants and about $1.5 million. And so if I'm elected, I would do what I can to get some of that grant money going towards your museum. I appreciate local history. We have a lot of it in the area and would like to keep that going for whatever, ends up happening here in the next couple months and years.
Thank you, Chris. I appreciate you attending the meeting. Appreciate your comment. Good to have you. Welcome to Seneca County Online.
And general apology, COVID. If it weren't for COVID, I'd be there in person at some point, but it's been a rough 6 months.
Yeah, we get it. I heard there's something going around in there.
Yeah.
Okay, anybody else? Okay, hearing none, we will move on. Whole business, review status of employees. We had kind of teed this one up by talking about what's going on with the budget, et cetera. And I will kind of tell you what I think the consensus is, but I would certainly invite my fellow commissioners to jump in. I think the consensus at this point is to bring everybody back full time starting September 21st. And to recommend to the electeds that the RTA building, recorder treasurer building be opened up as of September 21st on a 5-day-a-week basis, how they deem appropriate, and that the recorder, the treasurer, and the auditor are there full time. And that in addition to that, those contracts that we have deferred, if you will, for some of the year be reestablished, and that we pay the last 4 months starting in September of those contracts, which would include TSEP, which would include Highbridge, FEDC, and I'm sure that Stacy has a litany of other contracts that we have deferred for a while, and people that have taken less than what they had coming contractually from us. We have saved what we needed to save, I think, at this point, and we can move forward with that. But again, fellow commissioners, give me your thoughts. That's kind of where I think we are, but maybe that's not where we are.
Yeah, Mike, Shane, I agree. And with regards to the contract services, we may have to prorate that, Stacy. If I remember right, we had prepaid some of those through June 30th, and then discussed not paying anything for the second half of the year. So if you were paid in April, May, and June, then we just have to kind of prorate that. But I think, Mike, your point is we've got 4 months that we want to reinstate those contracts and have them paid. I have reviewed the numbers. I've been very skeptical. I've looked at this 100 different ways. We've highlighted some of the improvements. There's another one with your investment income. The premium holiday on the health insurance is $180-some thousand to the budget. I'm feeling good about it, and I think it is time to bring everybody back. And I think the caveat is this appropriate for, I'll have Shane and Mike comment, but it's up to each elected as to, so basically we would be saying as of September 21st, you are reinstated, your money's been reinstated, but it's up to each elected as to how to deploy that money and bring people back, right?
Absolutely. You know, the RTA, for example, though, hopefully the three electeds there would be able to agree. I don't think we'd want to have the building open and some of the offices open and some of them not. But again, it is, you're absolutely right. It is up to the electeds. And I will throw the same cautionary addition that we talked about with the holiday on the insurance premiums. This is a decision based on current conditions, right? God knows what's going to happen 3 months from now or 6 months from now. We certainly hope nothing horrible, but you know, a year ago, who would have anticipated what, you know, where we're at here today, right? So we're making the best decision we can make with the information that we have in front of us, but that could change based on outside circumstances that we're not aware of at this point. Shane, your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I'm good with the motion to bring them back and restore the funding to the personnel lines. That's good. And I want to personally thank all of our partners, TSEP, Regional Planning, Highbridge, you know, everybody. The list was comprehensive. Everybody pulled together and has set the county up for a healthy position for the future. And we could have never done that without complete and total cooperation from everyone. So we are in a good position because we all work together, and I really appreciate that. And I think that the taxpayers of Seneca County should appreciate that as well, and recognize that you know, you have true partnerships when you can go through something like this and keep everybody together. So thank you, and thank you for the sacrifice that our employees made. And you know, we did that with a heavy heart, but it was necessary for the longevity of the county, and we did it. And now we are in a different position, and we're going to give it back. So
good.
Thanks for bringing that up, Shane. I echo your comments. Thank you.
Is it fair? Would it be fair, just for purposes of calculation, to say that 20% of the contract we are not paying for 2020, and that whatever we originally contracted for, we should pay 80% of that because of our desire to cut 20% back? Is that, for purposes of calculation for Stacy, is that fair, or do you want some other calculation made?
Let me pull the contracts because each of them were different. And we actually canceled contracts, so we will have to probably enter into a new contract. So let me get those. I'll have Kylie help me get those around for next couple weeks. Get with David and you know, Pastoria and some of the other contracts, if that's okay.
Okay, just for guidance for you then, what I would like to give you permission to do is to reinstate those contracts up for the year 2020 up to 80% of their face value, not to exceed. If you want to make some other negotiation, that's fine.
Yeah, I think, Mike, that's probably appropriate. I'm looking at it more on a monthly basis. I think payroll was the 20%, you know, going forward, but on the contract services, and I'm not against what you said, giving Stacy the ability to sit down and negotiate with that caveat. But my math is somewhere around 5 months, maybe a little longer than that. We've had, you know, we made this announcement, end of March, and here we are. And so it's more like 5 months. I do want to add one thing. We are not reinstating the museum with this conversation. That's all still under advisement. So as we bring everybody back, I think it's implied the museum remains closed until we can come to some resolve with that. Is that how you two think of this or look at it?
Yeah, no problem with that.
And, you know, we're working on it. So stand by kind of thing. Shane, are you okay with that?
Yeah, I mean, I would prefer that Tanya be brought back and we commence inventory, but you know, I don't want to hold up the rest of the employees on that. But you know, my preference is that we're doing inventory right now since we have the funds.
Any thoughts, Mike?
Hopefully, you know, what we had talked about earlier, we'll get that closer to a resolution that if we include the inventory being completed before we reopen, that maybe we can move forward with that. But, you know, we're a couple of weeks down the road on that, I think, before we have a chance to review and make decisions.
I appreciate Shane's comments. I think, you know, we need to resolve this, but I think it would muddy the waters in our thinking if we did that. But I don't disagree, Shane, that we need to come
Yeah,
in.
I just think before we ever allowed someone else to run the museum, we would have to have an inventory. And so somebody has to resolve that for me. So.
Okay, that's good. We'll talk about that a little, but for purposes of today, I'd like to just, we talked about it. We're good.
Okay. So do we need a motion, do you suppose, on this proposal or on our plan? I guess it probably would be good for the minutes. So I will accept the motion to bring employees back to full speed as of September 21st, and for Stacy Wilson to be allowed to look at contracts and make a decision up to 80%.
So moved.
I'll second it.
Okay, Nikki?
Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Paradiso,
Yes.
Commissioner Kirschner.
Yes. So along with that discussion, right, goes the budget stabilization fund. I know it's a favorite topic for all of us. I think the only reason that's in there at this point is to realize that we are probably going to have some carryover, and we will have to make a decision as to how much, if anything, we decide to put in 2020. I think at the very least, we've got to look at that 885 for the Medicaid money and talk about putting that into the budget stabilization fund, since we've taken it out of the that account. I hope that maybe we can add 115 to it and get us to $1 million for 2020. But time will tell. Don't want to make any decisions until we know actually what the numbers are at the end of the year, right? I'd like to add $1 million to the stabilization fund before Commissioner Thomas leaves us, so we can say we left the county in pretty good fiscal shape.
And remember, we're maxed at 5%.
Yeah, so I think
5% of the previous year's revenue.
So we're damn near. Oh, so that obviously, if it's 20 million, we can get to $1 million. So,
yep.
Okay.
Mike, we'll talk more about that. I agree. I was kind of looking at the agenda thinking, let's put that up above our last conversation, because I wanted to make sure, you know, we're bringing everybody back, but part of that is, you know, we want to make sure that we don't know what the future is, and we want to make sure that going into next year, we feel pretty good financially with, you know, some possible downside.
Well,
we can weather the storm. But, you know, my other thought would be, and we'll talk more about this, is, you know, the Medicaid fund was an unofficial reserve fund for the commissioners. My understanding, it's been there for several years, and there are a little more restrictions in the budget stabilization fund. So in my mind, reserves are reserves, and it's up to the commissioners to deploy those reserves in situations they seem fit. So I would like to see some of the money go into our capital improvement account. We have a large list of needs, and therefore it would be out of the general fund. It would be in capital improvement. There'd be a nice addition to budget stabilization. Accomplishes the same thing, avoids the 5% cap Stacy's talking about. But, you know, we can talk again more about that in a month or two, but that's my thinking.
yeah, just for your knowledge, Sean, I think you know this, but we used to get sales tax money on the Medicaid, and that went away because it was decided that no longer. So to try to compensate us, we got some money a couple of years ago. That 885, we really can't put it back into the Medicaid line, but we can put it in the budget stabilization line into the future. So that's where we're at with that.
Okay.
Okay. Any other old business to be brought before this group? Hearing none, Stacy, we can get into new business here.
Bring up my screen.
A little better than last week, Stace,
Yeah, at least I have my computer back. I can
with the
can
power
see.
outage.
Yeah, that was challenging, but we did it. Okay, I have a few requests. I have a supplemental appropriation for the prisoner medical for $60,000. I spoke to Sheriff a little bit yesterday and this morning. This year it just seems to be an unprecedented year. Knock on wood, luckily none of these is a COVID case, but we do have more than half, with some sort of medications, and we have, at least one that's being treated for something that's quite pricey. So for the most of the years, he's done quite well, and it's about $40,000-$50,000 per year. He's used the full 43 that we've given him, and still has quite a few months left to go, and a big bill outstanding. So trying to be sensitive and no HIPAA and no, just know that we have some claims that we don't normally have that's made this year quite different than normal. I have a supplemental appropriation for the contract services line in the Justice Center line, in the Justice Center operating fund for $85,000. This was just money that was rolled over from 2019 and we hadn't needed it yet. John's getting down to about $10,000 in his contract services for utilities for the building. So we need to get that reappropriated. No additional funds from general fund. It's money that was in there from last year. I have a supplemental appropriation request from Victims Assistance, $15,000 into her transfers out line. It's the end of year, so we'll be doing a transfers out into her new fund. The next one I have is a request from the county engineer for tax map. When he did the budget reductions for his contract service line, it was reduced $177.90 too much for his copier service agreement. So he's requesting that additional. And then I have a supplemental appropriation request from Juvenile Probate Court. And actually, I think Kathy's on the call in case you have any questions. Everybody's aware that, we had gotten rid of all of the travel expenses, but a caveat is that training actually comes out of travel expenses as well. And they have required court training that they need to do. And so they're asking for an additional $300 for training, not necessarily travel, but for the training, the courses that they need to do. And that's all I have on the computer. I have a resolution authorizing a fund transfer be made to the VOCA grant fund. This is for the $15,000 from closing out the previous year to our new fiscal year. Travel or for transfers out and the transfers in. I have a resolution accepting the bid and authorizing an agreement with M&B Asphalt for the issue 1 round 34 2020 Seneca County Township Road Reconstruction Program. The total amount was for $1,236,353.24. I have a resolution setting time, date, and place to receive sealed bids or sealed statement of qualifications for energy conservation and countywide infrastructure improvement projects. This will be scheduled for 10 a.m. Thursday, October 15th, 2020, here at the Commissioner's office. This is for that energy program that ABM talked to us about a few times. And I have a resolution acknowledging the notice of retirement for Mike Clace as the Seneca County Emergency Services Technician effective September 11th, 2020. And I have a resolution establishing the Bureau of Workers' Comp Substance Use Recovery and Workplace Safety Grant Fund. This is for the mental health and recovery services. And that's all the resolutions I have.
Well, two comments. First, I think it's appropriate that Michael Clace is retiring on 9/11, right? Secondly, do you suppose, talking to some insurance folks, is there any way like Job and Family Services or the medical needs for the prisoners, is there any insurance that we could possibly buy? Would there be anything that would be underwritten for, if that's going to be an ongoing expense, and if we have some surprises as far as kids under care with Job and Family Services, that there are some significant expenses? Is there any type of a rider or some insurance we might be able to buy that would assist us rather than being self-insured here?
For prisoner medical?
Pardon me?
For prisoner medical?
Either for prisoner medical or for Job and Family Services, if they've got kids under their care that they're going to have some significant expenses for. Tony, you can probably answer this better than anybody. I mean, do you think there might be anything out there or worth looking at?
Yeah, I don't know. I do not know the answer to that question. So I think it's an interesting question. We should look into it at least.
Yeah, because remember we had a couple of years ago, we had a real significant issue with someone who needed to be institutionalized. You know, that was going to cost the county $400,000 or $500,000 a year if the ruling went against us. I don't know if there's any possibility of a catastrophic type of insurance that would protect us in the event something like that happens.
Yeah, I think maybe I can talk to you about that, Stacy, but if a person is in our care, custody, control, that's different than if you're a student going to school at Columbian, let's say, and you get sick, okay? But when we have the prisoner in our facility, or we have control of the Job and Family, I mean, that's a good point, Mike. Never thought of it. I do think we ought to look at it because we are responsible for the medical bills.
Yeah, I mean, I have no idea if there's such a thing out there, but it sure sounds like, we try to insure against everything else, right? Maybe.
Yeah, let's
Yeah,
look at it.
Okay. Any other, I will accept the motion then for the new business, supplemental appropriations, the fund transfers, the bids, and the resolutions.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, any additional discussion about any of the items? Hearing none, Nikki, roll call, please.
Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Paradiso,
Yes.
Commissioner Kirsten.
Yes. So before we go into open comments, during a walk last night, I spoke with Mary Lewis. I told her that I would acknowledge the fact that first of all, she's been a great volunteer for the city of Tiffin and just a wonderful lady. And she says that she listens to us on a regular basis. So give her a little bit of a shout out, and also thank all the folks that do tune in to let you know that you are more than welcome to make comments at the end if it's just saying hello. We love knowing that there are people out there listening. I think this format is much better for that. You can't necessarily get to the office, but you can log into the Zoom account, and here you are. So Mary, I said I was going to say hello and hello to you.
Hi, Mary.
Yeah.
Mary.
Hey, Commissioner Kirshner, is Mike Ditto still on? He was doing some lobbying for us on some federal issues, and I just wanted to see if he had an update.
Sure. I'm
Yeah,
Mike.
yeah. Hello.
Hi, Mike.
Good morning, everyone. Now, appreciate the opportunity. I just wanted to give you a very brief update. We've had some initial conversations with both Senator Portman's office and Senator Brown's office, and it sounds like there's a lot of bipartisan agreement on changing the Treasury guidance regarding the use of the CARES Act dollars, but it's not going to be done likely before the election. So we've still got a little bit of time that we have to wait on that, but I have advocated for Seneca County's position, at least to their offices, that flexibility really is the key word. So I think that according to both of their offices, there are some other issues that are getting in the way, but essentially they are expecting some additional flexibility on the CARES and other COVID-related dollars by the end of the year, but it's uncertain as to what date that will happen. That could mean pushing the date back to how long you can use the funds, maybe even into 2021, or when those funds would have to be returned to the state. Senator Portman's office was quick to point out that he has been on record as saying this money that is allocated by the feds needs to go directly to the local communities and bypass going through the state of Ohio. And I think that he would like to see that in other states as well, certainly. So there's a lot still happening. It's not a done deal yet, but we've advocated for your position. We'll continue to do so. And it sounds like there will be some effort on that later this year.
Perfect, Mike. Thank you. Have you seen any template based on Commissioner Thomas's thoughts regarding helping small businesses, that if there is any excess funds, that we would be able to create some type of a grant for those small businesses? Have you seen any template of those proposals?
I have not, but I'd be glad to take a look at that for you, because I imagine there's some other folks that are coming up with similar ideas. So we'll put our heads together and talk to some other folks on that, because I think that's a great idea. And when it was published in some of your local papers, when that idea came up, I think it was widely reviewed as a great idea. So we'll see if we can come up with something there.
Okay, thank you.
You bet.
Okay, yes.
Mike, I have Audrey, are you on there? Audrey Flood? Maybe her and I have been communicating about the census and the two universities here in town. And so I think she has an update for us if she's on. Audrey?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes,
yeah.
we can.
Hi.
Good morning, everyone. Yeah, so Commissioner Perdiso asked me to look into this a little bit, kind of where things are at with the census. I know we were trying to do a really big push on the university originally before COVID, and obviously that really threw a wrench into things. So I spoke with our regional representative for the census this morning, and so here's what he had to say on that. So really nothing has changed for their approach other than a little bit of follow-up. So as far as the main issue being, because of COVID, there's less actual attendance at the universities, either less people enrolled or less people being there in person due to COVID. They might just be taking online classes, or they might be, living at home or something like that. So that shouldn't matter based on their approach. So for all of the students living on campus, the universities are the ones who are actually providing that data to the census. And that process started back before COVID ever hit, back in February. And so they've been continuing to draw that data from the universities and get those numbers from the students correct this whole time. And those were for, the spring semester numbers, because it is where you are living on April 1st and or where you lived the majority of the year, meaning 6 months plus 1 day where you were, in the location the longest. And so this is based off of spring semester numbers, which should not have been, affected by COVID, the enrollment that they had starting at spring semester. So those numbers that the universities are providing should not have been impacted by COVID and should be, good to go. And that's a pretty straightforward process, it sounds like, for the universities reporting that. For students that live off campus, again, those forms were sent out early March to any of the students that might be living in off-campus housing. And there was a big push through the universities and through other methods to, push the students to fill it out and to, try to really promote that. But again, those were sent out before COVID kind of began or got in the way. And so shouldn't be, again, having a huge impact on it. So even though the concern was this fall, there's definitely less students on campus, less students attending, less students enrolled, it should not affect the numbers. And so I also asked, is there anything left that we can do as a community to help, kind of bolster these numbers and make sure we're really getting that accurate count? And our representative, Chad is his name, he said, so September 30th is the drop dead deadline. So they kind of pushed it back a little bit due to COVID to have time to do some extra follow-up, some extra calls, some extra time to have census workers actually going out doing door-to-door follow-ups for the ones who haven't filled it out. So it is September 30th is the last day. So he said during these last few weeks, what we can do as a community is really just help with getting the message out with, hey, if you haven't filled it out, fill it out. All the language we've been using all year, that's really our job right now is to promote that kind of last push to get people to fill it out and to spread that positive information about it and to have the community leaders really pushing that. So that's what he said we can do. So, for you all as commissioners to keep on pushing that word for the next couple of weeks is really important. And then I also, if anyone has any more specific questions, I'm happy to help, but I also wanted to provide our representative's information for you all. So his name is Chad Stover and his line is 740-834-9546. And he's happy to talk to anyone who has any specific questions about how the census is working as well. Hopefully that answered your question, Commissioner Paradiso. Do you or anyone else have any other questions on the university census topic?
Thank you for that report, especially on short notice. Thank you. Mike, can't hear you, Mike.
All right, here we go. I would just say as it affects Tiffin, Ohio and Seneca County, it is a much larger percentage than most communities, right? I mean, we have a population in Tiffin somewhere in the range of 17 to 20,000, and there are theoretically 6,000 kids on campuses, both for Tiffin University and Heidelberg. So from a percentage standpoint, it affects us significantly more than most communities, certainly most communities our size. So hopefully we're able to find some way to be diligent in counting those things. We said that from the very start. So thanks for your work on that, and just tell them how important we think it is to get a concise number of students.
Good.
Okay. Anything else, Audrey?
Yeah, the only other thing from our team today for an update is from Amy at the downtown. So we had mentioned we're doing these different alternative ways of celebrating the summit this year. Hopefully you all have noticed there are giant maroon stickers on the sidewalks. That is part of our 2020 Downtown Summit stroll. So you can walk around, you pull your phone out, stick the phone over the sticker on the sidewalk, and it'll pull up a video of whatever the sticker is near, the business or the building. So it's a really fun initiative that we helped Amy put together. She's really excited about it. So please go out and try that out. I think there are 2 near you all. So if you have any questions about that, let us know, but spread the word to go out and do the downtown stroll.
Audrey, I have a question. Is it true that those codes work better with a door glass in your hand?
No comment. You'll have to try that out yourself.
It goes from 4G to 5G.
That's a good one, Shane.
It's a good lubricant. Yes. Okay. Open line Friday. Anyone else here have any comments today?
Good morning, it's Charlene from Regional Planning.
Morning.
Morning. So I just wanted to give you guys a couple updates and a few things that are going on. If you're following Seneca Regional Planning's Facebook page this week, you got to see some great live videos and streams of a vault restroom being installed at the Melmore Ballpark in Eden Township. That project was made possible through the 2019 CDBG funds through the county commissioners. And if you know me, you know I love cranes. So that was a great day for me to be out there to see those cranes, that crane in action. A wonderful group of guys that came out and worked. I couldn't ask for a better time. And it was just truly interesting to see how those are installed. And it's great to be able to share that with the public and show them that great use of funds. Second of all, just want to kind of give you a little heads up. that Audrey and I have met and been talking about the CARES Act and the new CDBG CV and how we can work together on trying to use the funds, work with the villages and townships on the funds, work with the county, talking about economic development and other projects. So yesterday we sent out an email to all the villages and townships in Seneca County that are members of regional planning, including a very brief survey asking them about their usage of the funds, if they're going to use all of it, if they haven't received it, if they want to receive it, and would they be interested in doing an economic development program with it. This is just to gauge their interest. So far, we've had about 6 respondents, and 100% of those respondents would like to use funds towards small business economic development recovery in their village or township, if they have anything left over. They have to have all the responses back to me by the 28th of September. So on the 29th, we will have a formalized report that I'll feed back to TSEP, and I'll include Stacy on that just so she has it for you guys, so that, you know, she can communicate information. And then we will hand that over to TSEP to let them work with the villages and townships on talking about developing an economic recovery plan for small businesses, and letting Audrey and the team at TSEP develop that package. So just wanted to let you know we are working on something together and trying to get that rolling. So just want to give you those updates. Otherwise, life is grand. Thank you very much for everything you do.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Caroline. Anyone else out there? David, Zach, I see the finger going up.
It's the index finger, Mike. Just to make that clear. To those who aren't watching, what finger is this feels like Friday. Sorry about that. So yeah, I just wanted to give a quick update on where we are in terms of developing a small business grant relief program to whoever would want to use it. The city's going to move forward, and we're happy to support the county and or villages in collaboration with our many partners like Charlene, et cetera, in terms of reaching out and figuring out what people want to do. This really got steam end of last week. So I've talked to Findlay, Hancock County. I've talked to the folks running the program down in Hamilton County. I've talked to the people with the city of Akron and with Summit County, and I talked to the folks of Cuyahoga Falls. So we're doing what we often do, which is benchmark, try to learn what the best advice people who've done it for 1, 2, or 3 rounds is, and we're going to put that all together and come up with some recommendations of what we think works here. So again, there's a lot of moving parts to doing that, as you all know, and as Charlene and everybody who works with grants know, but we're making progress. So we're hoping to have something for folks' consideration in the not too distant future.
Thank you, David. Thank you. Anyone else out there? Jimmy, nothing you see?
I don't see anything now. This is your last chance. *6 if you're on the phone line.
Thank you, everyone. Yes, Chris.
Commissioner, I'll just jump back in if you don't mind. Just give you a more general introduction to me. So if you don't know me, I grew up in Green Springs, right on the County Line Road there, went to Clyde St. Mary's and then Fremont St. Joe. By the way, congratulations, Commissioner Paradiso, on making it to the Hall of Fame. I would have been there back in March, but alas, no one was there. Went on to Ohio Dominican, where I ran track and cross country in the same conference as Tiffin Dragons. Got my degree in political science, worked on the Hill for Sherrod Brown, came back here and started working for Brecht and Coble, and got my law degree part-time at the University of Toledo. And now I'm on Fremont City Council and, running for state rep. And, main issue is really just getting our local government funds back so that you guys and our cities and our villages, townships can do the, provide the services they need to provide to make this a great place to live, and just want to, incentivize more people to move to small towns like ours that predominate this district. Seneca County is not as bad because of your 2 colleges, but in Sandusky County, we've been in population decline for the last 40 years. And, we have a lot of great employers here. It's a great place to live, and I'd like to keep it that way. And to do that, we need to get more people to move back here. And I think restoring local government funds is the biggest mover that we can do there. So I just want to be brief and just tell you a little bit more about myself while I was on here. So thank you, guys.
Thanks, Chris. Thank you. Anything else? Okay, I better hurry with the finger. Hearing nothing else, I think that we will adjourn as of 11:33 a.m. Thanks everyone who participated. Stay well.